So in today's video, we have some major updates from President Trump. Speaker Johnson has to defend Republicans in regards to the one big beautiful bill, and another judge is blocking deportations.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Well, clearly the president is upset there and frustrated. And in our first story here, this is the president making his way back to the White House, and he's providing some key updates. And one of these updates is in regards to Russia and Ukraine. And I think everybody shares his level of frustration here, because I think I've said this repeatedly. I don't see Putin or Zelensky really committed to ending this war. And for whatever reasons that might be, I think is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, they've had every chance to come to a ceasefire at a minimum. Now, here's the president speaking about the one big beautiful bill and his chances that it will pass in the Senate. Take a listen.
The one big beautiful bill, and it is a big beautiful bill. And so I think the Senate is going to get there. I hope they're going to get there. I think they're going to have changes. Some will be minor and some will be, fairly significant. But we've been working with the House all the way up. They've been working together. And the Speaker has been working with the leader of the Senate. And, they've done a great job. John Thune and Mike Johnson have done a fantastic job. They've been working together all the way up. So hopefully that'll be fine.
Yeah, so I share the president's optimism, but let's just be real here. The reason why Congress hardly accomplishes anything great is because of the issue you just heard him bring up. They're going to make changes to this bill. What are those changes? I'm interested to know. And will those changes be in alignment with what President Trump wants? Now, understand something. Just because it passed in the House does not mean it's going to pass in the Senate, vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the end, because remember, the deadline is July 4th. And also the president provided an update in regards to the EU and the 50% tariffs he was looking to place on them starting June 1st. Take a listen.
Commission President von der Leyen, did you discuss the 50% tariffs, and did you agree to release?
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation, because I've told you specifically, I told anybody that would listen, they have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
Now, those were just a few updates from the president as he makes his way back to the White House today. But now what I want to do is move to our next story. And this is about Speaker Mike Johnson continuing to defend Republicans and the big beautiful bill, because mainstream media and Democrats continue to claim that Medicaid is being cut. And yes, we're going to bring the facts for you so you can see it for yourself. Let's start here.
The CBO found that nearly 8 million Americans will in fact lose their insurance coverage because of the changes this bill makes to Medicaid. So how do you reconcile that with what President Trump said?
It's directly in line with what the president said. I've said the same. We are not cutting Medicaid in this package. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this, Jake. The numbers of Americans who are affected are those that are entwined in our work to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. And what do I mean by that? You got more than 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid. Medicaid is not intended for non-U.S. citizens. It's intended for the most vulnerable populations of Americans, which is pregnant women and young single mothers, the disabled, the elderly. They are protected in what we're doing because we're preserving the resources for those who need it most.
Now, it seems that we've been talking about Medicaid every single day since the announcement of the big beautiful bill. So let me refresh you exactly what the debate is. According to Democrats, Republicans are going to cut Medicaid benefits for American citizens who are qualified to receive these benefits. They're going to put them out on the streets and they're going to die. That is their rhetoric. Now, for the Republicans, they're after illegal aliens who have been receiving these benefits, even though Democrats deny this is happening. We're going to show you the proof. And also able-bodied men in particular, who are younger individuals, probably in their 20s, even 30s, who do not have a disability and should not be getting Medicaid. And here's Exhibit A to prove the point that illegal aliens they are receiving Medicaid benefits. According to California Department of Finance, the state of California will spend more than $8.4 billion on taxpayer-funded Medicaid health benefits for illegal aliens this year. And that is over $5 billion more than initially estimated. Last year, California became the first state to offer free taxpayer-funded health care through Medicaid to all illegal aliens in the state. And Democrats are mad that Republicans are trying to stop that from happening. That's ludicrous.
You're talking about 4.8 million able-bodied workers, young men, for example, who are on Medicaid and not working. They are choosing not to work when they can. That is called fraud. They are cheating the system. When you root out those kinds of abuses, you save the resources that are so desperately needed by the people who deserve it and need it most. That's what we're doing, and that's why this is the morality of what we're doing here is precisely right, and it comports with all the public opinion polls. When people ask whether young men, for example, who are able-bodied and have no dependents should be working, everybody says yes. And that's what our package does. So these estimates that you're hearing are accurate, but it's dealing with those numbers of people in the population, and that's going to make preserve the program and strengthen it for those who need it most.
Now, I get this impression, and I don't know about you, and if you can relate to me, just let me know in the comments section, that anytime Republicans propose a plan, a bill, a piece of legislation, the number one response from Democrats is that it will kill someone, it will destroy our country, it will take us back to a time where people are racist, right? I mean, these are the terms that they use. Now, when I hear Speaker Johnson talk about Medicaid cuts, it sounds reasonable to me. We should be cutting illegal aliens from the system. We should be cutting out young men from the system. We should have work requirements. And so when you look at it from that perspective, I'm not seeing what Democrats are seeing when they claim, oh, yeah, people are going to be put out on the streets and they're going to die. And the fascinating thing is this. When what they say doesn't come true, what will they say then? Now, according to MSDNC, they believe this is a winning issue for them. Take a listen.
What would you advise Democrats? Pick three things. I mean, three things. What should they run on for the midterm?
3 is such a short list.
I know.
Definitely, they've got to run on Medicaid. Medicaid is huge. We have so many people who are going to face not being insured at all. They've got to stick to the kitchen table issues. I would go Medicaid. I would also go in on children, child care and education. And lastly, the importance of our country remaining who and what we are. This is a president who has not only set our Constitution on fire, he's challenging the courts. Every check and balance that exists, he is someone who does not believe in it, turning our country into something that we have never seen.
Yeah, so it seems to me that these pundits, the experts, are still disconnected from true reality. And that's just an unfortunate take. If I was a Democrat, I would never utter the words that I would be running on Medicaid. I mean, it's just delusional, okay? Because illegal aliens are part of the system. That's a losing position for them. But I guess that's a whole nother thing. And here is my Exhibit B to show you that. Californians back cutting health care for illegal migrants, according to a poll dated May 17th. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, because not only is this a super liberal state, but this is a liberal source running this poll, and even they disagree with illegal aliens getting Medicaid benefits. And here's the first point. 60% of Californians think illegal immigrants living in America should not be provided with taxpayer-funded health care. Here's point number 2. The poll also found that 72% believe illegal immigration is harmful to the country. And fact number 3, only 21% of California voters support continuing Medicaid coverage for undocumented immigrants, even if it means cutting other programs. And finally, another 32% back the program but want legal residents prioritized if cuts are needed. Oh, and let's not forget, 31% say the state should never have extended Medicaid to illegal aliens.
The fraud, waste, and abuse is in 3 different categories. The fraud, which, by the way, we find quite a bit of. There's about $14 billion we've identified with DOJ of folks who are duly enrolled wrongly in multiple states for Medicaid. So, yeah, you live in New Jersey, but you move to Pennsylvania, and which state gets your Medicaid? Turns out both states collect money from the federal government. A lot of times within a state, you'll have someone on Medicaid and the exchanges. Again, $14 billion just in that regard alone.
Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just the beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. This is why I trust my friends at Tax Network USA to help people just like you. Whether you're self-employed or you're a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they got you covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation, which is completely free, could help you stop the penalties, threatening letters, and surprise levies before it escalates any further. So call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/divorce or hit the link in the description below.
Now, as you heard, Dr. Oz provided just facts about what is wrong with Medicaid and what they plan to do to fix it. But for some reason, Senate Democrats don't speak the same way. They're focused on scaring people. Here is an example of that. Senator Michael Bennet on CNN saying this.
Well, I think we're going to make sure the American people understand what's in this bill. It is completely incoherent. The Republicans can't agree on what they're trying to do with it. And the cuts to Medicaid are going to be devastating to rural America and to rural Colorado. I've spent a ton of time listening to healthcare providers in red parts of the state that voted for Donald Trump that are not engaged in waste, fraud, and abuse. They're engaged in trying to deliver health care on a shoestring as it is.
Yeah, see, this is the thing I despise when it comes to Democrats. They get all emotional and start screaming about the American who is struggling financially. But these are the same people who voted for policies that have caused the struggle to take place. And then they try to blame it on Republicans and say, well, see, they're the ones that are doing it to America. They're the one hurting Americans. Okay, so in our second story here, Marco Rubio delivers a warning to the federal judge who's blocked the administration from deporting 8 violent criminal illegal aliens to South Sudan. Let's first hear the details on that, and then I'll give you my reaction. Take a listen.
Marco Rubio says the recent ruling blocking deportation flights to South Sudan will cause significant and irreparable harm to United States foreign policy. The Trump administration has filed 2 court documents challenging the move, arguing, quote, this situation urgently requires judicial intervention to restore President Trump's full authority to conduct foreign policy. The deportees are currently being held at a U.S. naval base while the court weighs its decision.
All right, so there's really 2 things. Number 1, what the president had to say. Number 2, what the White House did as a response to the story. They posted the mugshot and the crimes of each of the illegal aliens. Now, this is what the president said. I'm just going to keep it short here for you. The judges are absolutely out of control. They're hurting our country, and they know nothing about particular situations or what they are doing, and this must change immediately. Hopefully, the Supreme Court of the United States will put an end to the quagmire that has been caused by the radical left. Yeah, I'm not too sure. My hopes are not high given what I've seen from the Supreme Court up to this point. Now, let's take a look at these criminals and their crimes.
ICE identified the men, all of whom have egregious criminal convictions. We're talking murderers here, sex offenders, rapists of children, and the handicapped. And this is who they're protecting. And the Biden regime aiding and abetting, incentivizing, protecting these men, including this guy, a 24-year-old Venezuelan who Ohio cops say was arrested for pretending to be a 16-year-old high school student. Do you think he's the only illegal alien adult who is pretending to be a kid right now? There's no way to tell. A Biden official admitting that child migrants, they're not vetted because they can't vet them. They don't have the paperwork, so they just let them in.
Now, let's understand exactly what's going on here in case you're still kind of fuzzy with the details. We're talking about 8 illegal aliens who originally were deported because they were convicted criminals in our country. And according to this judge, he had already issued an injunction preventing the Trump administration from deporting them. But the administration went ahead and did it anyway. And it's because of this one fact. They are deporting illegal aliens who were convicted criminals in our court system. So my question here at this point is, if an illegal alien already broke the law by entering our country illegally, then committed crimes against an American citizen and was convicted on those crimes, why couldn't the administration immediately deport them? I don't understand the due process in regards to that.
Again, you have a handful of judges elected by nobody sitting in local cities and communities, claiming that they can rule over the foreign policy, national security, and defense of the entire United States, to micromanage the activities of our Defense Department, of our federal immigration officers, of our cabinet secretaries. In other words, judges who will claim the powers of a king, all for the purpose of the mass importation of illegal aliens. The Democrat Party has as its highest focus, its orienting, overwhelming mission, the mass importation of illegal aliens into this country, mass third world migration. That is what the entire Democratic Party now serves and exists for, not the American people.
Now, I've given you what the facts are. Now, I've given you my opinion, the facts, and including what Stephen Miller had to say, which I think all makes sense and lines up with what's different in this case. If an illegal alien committed a crime and was arrested for that crime and was in court for that crime and was ultimately convicted in our court for that crime, what due process are they owed after that? Except they need to get on a plane and out of our country. I'm pleased if someone can make sense of it, let me know in the comments section. Now, let me show you what the other side is saying here. MSDNC doesn't see it this way. Take a listen.
The administration has gone so far as to secretly ship migrants to South Sudan, defying a Supreme Court order. At the center of it all is a dangerous legal theory that the president's word is law. And here's the glaring irony that should offend each and every American. Trump owes his freedom, perhaps even his presidency, to the very due process protections that he's now trying to dismantle. Throughout his first term and throughout his second campaign, his legal teams used every tool in the book to delay trials and avoid consequences. Now that he holds power, he claims America can no longer afford those protections. He said it would take 200 years to give every immigrant a fair trial. White House advisor Stephen Miller was even more blunt, declaring if you illegally invaded our country, the only process you are entitled to is deportation.
That's correct. Most conservatives believe that. I think most Americans believe that. I told you guys, the Democrats, they have a bad habit with this. They don't see illegal aliens who cross the border illegally as criminals. That's number one. Number two, even if they did commit crimes, they believe they deserve the same due process as an American citizen. And that is a no-go. Just imagine if we had crossed borders in another country. You think they'd have all these benefits and they'd be this nice to us? Absolutely not. In some cases, we would be killed on sight. Now, as you guys may know, if you watched my video from yesterday, President Trump delivered a commencement speech at West Point Academy. And finally, the reactions are rolling in. And they're exactly what you would expect because they're all coming from the left. And I want to debunk a couple of them. Let's start first with this take from MSDNC.
I've actually always had an issue with presidents going and giving speeches in front of military audiences.
Even though they're commander-in-chief.
Now, if they're going in the role of commander-in-chief and they have some specific reason to be there in that position, I think I can understand that. Yeah. But Donald Trump is certainly not the first president who has gone and given a speech that veered into the political in front of the military, and I've always been uneasy about that. Yeah. Now this is taking it to a whole other level. He's got the hat. I don't know if he was worried about his hair or something, but like it was clearly not just there in his role as commander-in-chief. And there was some elements of it that were a normal commencement speech, but it is politicizing the military in a way that I'm just very uncomfortable with in general. And presidents have done it a lot, and now we're just getting further and further down this road. I don't think that's what the service academies are for, to have politics injected into what they're doing. They have one mission, service of this country, and it should have nothing to do with everything else that's going on in Washington. So I find it very uncomfortable, and I sort of always have.
Okay, well, listen, if we just take his word for it, that would mean we would be able to find clips of him criticizing President Biden because he was political in his commencement speeches as well. Oh, that's right. There are no clips because, again, Democrats are filled with hypocrisy everywhere you go. So I'm not buying how he feels about this, and he doesn't like the speech, and he doesn't like that President Trump wore a MAGA hat. At the end of the day, this is the president of the United States, okay? It will be fine. He's only going to be the president for the next 4 years. Just deal with it. It doesn't mean the sky is going to fall, but this is how they react every single time, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to get your reaction actually in the comment section below to quite a few of these stories, starting with President Trump and his update. Clearly, he's frustrated with Putin in this endless war that he did not start, by the way, but he's trying to end. And then number two, Speaker Johnson continuing to defend the Republicans and this big, beautiful bill because everybody believes that they are cutting Medicaid. And we showed you that that's not even the truth. And finally, what is your reaction to the federal judge blocking President Trump from deporting these illegal aliens to South Sudan. And these are not just any type of illegal aliens. These are illegal aliens who were convicted in our courtroom. Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments section below. Now, in our next video that you might want to check out, yesterday, mainstream media started to panic over President Trump hosting a crypto dinner. If you didn't hear anything about that story, you might want to take a look at it. So if you want to see it, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.